So everybody, make sure you hit the like, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the share button. It's the big story going around the Pittsburgh media now. Jon Gruden, OC, next season when Matt Canada obviously he's not going to get his contract. He's not going to get a new contract over the season. This has been too bad for Matt Canada. The road is pretty much coming to the end with Matt Canada in this offense. Everybody's talking about Jon Gruden coming in because he has links to Tomlin back to Tampa Bay. And he's just got fired from the Raiders. And, you know, basically for making some not so PC comments. Let's just put it that way. And he pretty much ran a clown show in Oakland. I mean, it was terrible. The dude basically has a career 500 record, so he's not that good. Everybody talks about Mike Tomlin inheriting a Bill Cowher team. Well, that Super Bowl that Jon Gruden won was basically built on defense that Tomlin had a big part of building that defense back in the day, that Tampa Bay defense. And he has a Super Bowl ring as a coach on that staff with Tony Dungy. And I'm sure Tony Dungy probably recommended and referred Mike Tomlin to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that's why they gave him the opportunity. And if everybody wants to say Mike Tomlin won a Super Bowl because of Cowher's team, well, you can definitely say that about Jon Gruden winning a Super Bowl with Tony Dungy's team and that defense. Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Barber at cornerback, Warren Sapp at defensive tackle. I mean, that was an elite defense, one of the greatest defenses. And he's an offensive coach. He runs a West Coast offense, and really, there's so many West Coast offensive coordinators out there. You can find one in college. You can find one in the NFL that doesn't have this type of background. It's not going to bring in that type of namesake. And he's pretty much been an egomaniac wherever he goes. I mean, people want to criticize Tomlin because of Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. Mark Madden calls them the toxic twins. Antonio Brown punched the general manager in the face, and then he was calling him up saying, Antonio, what's going on, man? Hey, man, I need you on my team, man. Well, we got to win some games, man. I know you're out here doing what you got to do, but you got to, come on, man. What's going on, man? And then Antonio Brown played it on YouTube and made him look like the bigger clown that he is. And then he makes the comments he makes, and he gets fired, and this guy has a career 500 record. This is why Pittsburgh hires in-house. They're not going to bring in somebody like Jon Gruden with that type of record and those comments that he made, and you're going to have to pay him big money too because he's Jon Gruden. I got a Super Bowl ring. I won. He got $10 million with the Raiders, 10-year, $100 million, and he couldn't even finish his contract out. And he was getting paid $10 million a year for 10 years, a $100 million contract guaranteed, and he ruined it. And he basically had to resign. He was forced to resign from his position. So I think it's going to be hard for Jon Gruden to get a job anywhere in the NFL. It's going to be really tough. It's going to be tough for Jon Gruden. And he's definitely not going to get a job with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I would definitely rather have Brian Leftwich. You could get a lot of different OCs or people like the Green Bay. Who knows who's on the Green Bay's offensive coordinator? One of these West Coast offensive coordinators. The 49ers, Green Bay runs it. I mean, the Lions, I think, run the West Coast. There's a lot of teams. Brian Leftwich probably ran the West Coast with Bruce Arians. So there's a lot of different West Coast coordinators you can bring in here if that's the type of offense you want to run. But it seems like the Roonies are trying to determine to run the ball, and that's what they want to do. They want to run the ball. They want to get better at running the ball, and that's a top-down mentality that the Roonies want to bring back to Pittsburgh is fundamentally that they want to run the ball and be consistent at running the ball on the ground because in the long run, that's going to win you a lot of games in the playoffs when it's wet and it's cold and people are starting to get injured and you have a few people on injured reserve. You're going to have to run the ball in the playoffs, definitely. You're going to have to do a lot of different things. You have to play defense. You have to play team collective ball. You have to be a solid unit on both sides of the ball, period. And Jon Gruden, it's just too much drama. He'd be the type of guy that, there's already so much speculation to get Tomlin fired and fire this guy and the coaching staff. And then you come in and then they'd be talking about him wanting to be the head coach and, is Tomlin's put Gruden up there as a head coach. And there's no reason, any way you could even make a case that Gruden should subvert Tomlin. But they will try. just because it's Jon Gruden and he's won a Super Bowl and he's worked at ESPN and he has drama, big name, and that's not going to happen. That's never going to happen. This will never happen. This is crazy. Whoever's saying that this is some kind of inside information, this is just straight up fake news. I'll put my guarantee it. This is not going to happen, and I won't want it to happen. It's bad for business for the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, and it's not going to happen.